Okay guys, so today the next function, we already did basic, quick, French, ultra fast, whole wheat, and a bonus troubleshooting video. And that basically in that video, the basic things are that your yeast should not be expired. Don't put in too hot water if you're going to put warm water to start with, because then you could kill your yeast. And use your own measuring cups and spoons, because what comes in here is hard to gauge, and to be honest, I think it's lacking, because whenever I've used those, either the bread came out kind of small, or only one time it didn't come out at all. So use your own measuring spoons and use the type of flour the recipe asks for. Okay, as far as, you know, bread flour or just all-purpose flour or however. And I've already done that in the troubleshooting video, so you guys can check that out if you have any questions. Any links I have in the description box will be affiliate links for this machine, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links until it sells out, because it is from HSN, and sometimes they, you know, sell out and they don't bring it back, or they bring it back next year or however. But either way, I'm assuming you already have it and you're just watching this video here. So today we are doing the cake function. So I looked through the recipe book that it came with, and it is a Mocha pound cake. And you know, whenever I read pound cake recipes, and you know, right now in front of me I have a gingerbread that I made that from a Victorian recipe, which is really great. And my kids wanted frosting on it. So like, I love sweet things, but pound cake recipes always like blow my mind, because they just take so much sugar and everything else. So, you know, a lot of butter, a lot of sugar, but that's how they are. So this is nothing special. You know, it just wants whole milk, which I only have 2% because I've never bought whole milk in my life. So I'm going to use the 2% because that's what I have. 4 large eggs, some kosher salt, sugar, 1 1/4 cup, unsalted butter softened, so I will soften that just in the microwave. Vanilla extract, sour cream, 2 tablespoons, all-purpose flour, 1 1/3 and 3/4 cups, sorry. Some baking powder for your leavener. Of course, we're not using yeast. It's not yeasty bread. And then the last thing out here, which is so funny to me, espresso powder. I literally bought espresso powder 2 days ago. So when I was thinking about, oh, what video I'm going to make next, I would look at this. I'm like, espresso powder? I just bought some. Because I'm doing a lot of baking right now, and some recipes ask for weird stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have espresso powder. So I don't like going to the store very often, especially right now. So while I was there, I grabbed some even though nothing needed it. And it's on there. So let me see if I can find it. It's in my quarantine stash. A lot of times when I don't want to clean things off yet, I just leave them alone. So I got this instant espresso. I mean, that's what they mean. They don't mean like actual grounds, because you're not going to put espresso grounds in here. It won't melt. You know, they want instant espresso powder, which they didn't say that there, but that's what they're wanting. And then you just put everything in order of the listing of what it is here. So I'm going to take a moment to do that. So when I come back, basically we're just going to turn the machine on. But I'm not going to warm up the milk or anything like that, because that part doesn't really matter. I do that with the yeasty breads for the yeast to get a little bit of warm water going before the machine does its thing. I am going to probably scramble my eggs just a little bit just to get them going. You can probably just throw them in there. You know, this thing mixes a long time, but I want to make sure that those are well incorporated. So I'm just going to scramble those up before I put them in. And that's the only interesting thing I'll do. So I'm going to layer it all in just like that, the wet ingredients. And then the, just in the same order you see here, okay? And I will be back, but as always, take whatever's in your machine out. I always put the little onboard things in there, and then clip this in first. Oopsie. Make sure it's sitting in there, and then clip in, give it its quarter turn, and find the right spot for your paddle. All right, when I come back, everything will be in there. Okay, I measure out the sugar and put it in this thing. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Just wanted to show that, so you know what's going in there. Is it gonna be yummy? Yes. I remember one time a neighbor in Georgia had made some pound cake, and she invited me over, and you know, had some, you know, oh, can I get the recipe, you know, because it was so good. It had 3 cups of sugar in it. On top of, like, I believe a pound of butter, probably the whole 4 sticks. I was like, okay, so I'm never gonna make that. But it was really, really good. Of course it was. Okay. I'm used to, actually, the one I usually make for pound cake is the recipe from, I want to say it's a Betty Crocker book, but I think every time I check it out, it's actually a Better Homes and Garden book. It has like red and white checkers or stripes, or not stripes, but like a applied powder and that one. That's the one I use, and it doesn't have as much of either one of those things, and it's always really good. I remember one time I had a friend over, and we made strawberry shortcake with it. Basically, we just put strawberry on the pound cake, and her husband licked the plate. And he started laughing. He's like, obviously he was kidding, but I'm like, that's so gross. But it was really good. So that's the recipe I usually use. Okay, so I'll continue layering things in. I just wanted you to see what that looked like. I still need the vanilla extract, the sour cream, the flour, and all that, you know, baking powder and espresso powder. I'll come back when I do the espresso powder. And then just 1 1/4 teaspoons baking powder. 1, 2, 3. So the other measuring spoons I used got wet. So I have to use this set, and this set only has 1/4 and a tablespoon. So that's 1 1/4 teaspoons, 5 quarters, and 1 tablespoon of espresso powder. So hopefully this fits in here. Just so you know, and you should, maybe you already know, I don't know if you should already know, a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So if you don't have a tablespoon, you can measure out 3 teaspoons, and there you go. And I believe 1/4 cup is 3 tablespoons, which is interesting. But anyway, oh, I love that when you just, it's vacuum sealed. Yeah, I was hoping this would stick in there. Normally you don't want to measure over what you're doing, because if you got too much, you know, that looks about right. Okay, so there is that. So let's close this up, plug this in, and we'll select, sorry about that, I don't know, I was at a weird angle, and it beep. Okay, so we're just looking for mode. I don't know that I need to change the color of the crust or anything, so we're looking for number 6, which is cake. 1 hour and 50. If you did want to add nuts or something to drop in here, which I think would be really lovely, maybe some walnuts, but you can do that. Put them in here, and then select, where is the nut button? Oh, right here. Press that, and then start it. But I don't have anything to drop in. Oh, maybe some chocolate chips. Mocha chocolate chip. That might be nice, huh? Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some chocolate chips. Went and grabbed. So what happens is I buy things like this, and I just use a little bit at a time because I throw them into recipes like this. So these are some Grand Chips, semi-sweet chocolate chip, but to be honest, maybe some bitter sweet might be good. I'm just gonna eyeball this. Like that. And then let's say nut, yes. And let's just start. And it's 1 hour and 50. I need 1. I probably won't come back every, you know, I'll try to, but again, I don't usually use the cake or the quick bread options, and quick bread I mean like cake bread, because I can mix it by hand pretty easy. These things all you have to do is incorporate it till it's moist all the way through and then bake it. So, you know, it's not something I need a machine for. The yeasty breads are the thing I need the machine for to knead, which I've kneaded before by hand, and it's a pain. And not every recipe you find online can you throw in here or any bread machine and think it's gonna work, because some of them are more artisanal and maybe they're not really adapted for a bread maker, right? And most of them you can, okay? But I'm just letting you know, because I think a lot of times people think, oh, you just throw it in there and then let it bake. But no, some things do need to be shaped or kneaded a certain way or whatever. But that's kind of why I like to know the times of the kneading on all these cycles, because maybe you have a bread recipe that adapts better to that kneading cycle. And maybe it needs to bake differently, so you let this thing knead it for you. Even if it's not the dough cycle, maybe it's a little bit different of a kneading cycle on a different setting. And then you take it out for the last rise, you shape it, take it out for the last rise, so let that rise. So that's kind of why I like to write these things down. But okay, I am going to keep an eye out, and I'll be back. Okay, at 1:43 it stopped to rise 1. And it was sounding like a mix more than anything. At the beginning you saw that it was kind of slow. And then it just sort of was going like mixing. So hopefully you can kind of see what's going on there. And rise 1, it doesn't really mean anything, but I'm sure it's going to start doing something else shortly, so I'll be back. Turn back on at 1:39, so let it sit for 4 minutes. Let's knead 2, and for whatever reason the machine likes to cycle through all the kneads and the rise 2 and rise 3, you know, so before it starts baking. So I will come back when it stops. So you guys, it just dropped the nut function there at 1:34, so at least you'll know that. 1:34. It dropped the chocolate chips, let's say, otherwise it sounds funny. Alright, again, you can just leave that there. If you're making a bread that really rises, like right now I'm going to open it even though that's supposed to be a no-no. But see, it just, okay, now it's doing something else. I would just come back in and close this, but it's not that deep that it's gonna touch your bread, especially with the pound cake. I think it only goes like this big anyway. So, but you can go in there and do that. Or you can just leave it open, right? If you've walked away and you're going to do other things, obviously it doesn't matter, just leave it open. Oh, it smells so good, I just realized, because I popped it open. Okay, I'll come back when it stops kneading. Stopped at 129 and the rise 2 began. So again, I feel like it's probably gonna leave it alone for a little bit and then maybe do one other quick punch down or mix, and then we'll see, because the machine loves to cycle through every single cycle, so there's still a rise 3, so not another kneading, but there's another rise, but usually between there they'll punch it down and then bake. I'm gonna try to catch this at rise 3, and I think I'm gonna take the paddle out, and I'll show you how I would do that. You're still gonna have a little hole obviously from the little thing that's there for the paddle, but I'm gonna do that. You don't have to do that, you know, especially if you're not around. If you just have the machine going, you're gonna go somewhere. But I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna just try to get it out with a what's the thing called? I can't remember the name right now. I'll know it by the time I come back. All right, I'll be back. Okay, guys, at 120, it went right from rise 2 to bake. So let me write that down at 120. Sorry, it took me a minute to come over here. I've changed my mind to pull the thing out because now it's already doing the heating element and I don't want to mess with it. So I was going to use tongs. I don't know how I forgot that. Tongue to pull this out. But, you know, I'm not going to do it now. So we're going to let it keep heating. And then the last thing in the note, which is number 5, it says when baking is complete to leave it in there for the full 1 hour of the warm cycle so that it completely cooks. I am going to do that, but I'm going to check it when it's done because last time I put a cake in here with that other function, what was it? Was it the quick? I want to say it was the quick cycle. It was like one of the early on videos I did. It took forever and it didn't bake all the way through to the center. And I was like, even after the warm cycle, like it wasn't just not going to do it. So I'm going to check it. And if it's almost done, then I'll feel happy to just leave it with the warm cycle. I might add another 10 minutes of bake because there's a bake number 8 and it's just 10 more minutes of baking. But we'll see what we do when we get there. So for the hour and 20 minutes, it's going to be baking. Okay, guys, I heard this thing beeping and I thought it was something else and I totally forgot. So it's on keep warm. I'm going to look at it. I'm trying to focus you guys in there. I'm trying to put a flashlight in there. I don't really want to open it because I feel like it's going to lose a lot of heat, but oh well, let's look at this because I have a feeling that's still too soft in my opinion. So I'm going to go to bake. You're supposed to leave it in here for the full keep warm for an hour. Keeping that warm isn't going to bake it still, in my opinion. I wish I could show it to you guys. I mean, it's okay, but it's not really set up as much as I would like. So I'm going to go mode. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to go mode. Sorry, I'm pressing the mode button over here. Let me see if I can back up a little bit. Oh, that's forward. Back up a little bit. To bake, and I'm gonna hit it twice. I think it needs that much. So it doesn't let you add up the bake, so I'm just gonna leave it on 10 minutes because that's all you can do. And I'm gonna press start, and then I'm gonna do it again. So when I come back, I'll have added 20 minutes, maybe I added 30. But this is kind of what happened that last time, but the last time my recipe was much bigger as far as the amount of flour and everything it needed, so obviously it was a bigger cake when I used the quick function. So I am just going to keep an eye on it. Again, I wouldn't normally use this machine for the quick or for the cake because that's just not my thing, but I'm doing it for the videos. So it looked okay. I like mine to be really brown and really baked up. So you know, not raw, right? So we would want. So I'll come back when I hear it beep. I'm gonna come back and give it another 10 at least. I'll tell you what I end up doing when I come back. Okay, we are beepy beepy. This is 30 minutes. So it looks so nice at 20. I just flashed a flashlight in there. I thought, well, 10 more minutes wouldn't hurt. So it is nicely domed now too. I don't know if you noticed before, it was a little bit flat and now it has that dome. Still a little soft, guys. I'm gonna do another 20. I mean, that is really soft. So this is what happened with the quick cycle too. I was like, what is this thing even doing? So hold on, let me go to 8. You know what it kind of reminds me of? I'm gonna press start and it's gonna do another 10 minutes. I'll do it again. This is what happened last time. I think I had to bake it for another hour. I had to do the bake function 6 more times. It reminds me of these Victorian recipes I'm making or like trying out, or like I said, that gingerbread I already have sitting here. where it just bakes for a long time, or you have to boil it even in like a pudding mold for a long time. And that's kind of where I'm like, is that where they're getting this? Because I don't know why they don't just inject heat into it, just like any other rice cooker or one pot that you're going to use that's like this. Of course, those are sealed up a different way. Well, rice cookers just have a little lid, but just get the heat going. I don't know. It's very slow heating on those two cycles, you know, which is very odd. So I, you know, brought out my little tester. There's no way. I'm not even going to poke this in there. But you saw how much higher it was and how domed it is. So, you know, it's looking really nice and it smells really, really great. But yeah, I'm just going to keep waiting. Again, probably 20 or 30 more minutes. Okay, just started the last 10-minute baking. So it's going to be 60 minutes altogether. And I was thinking, you know, maybe I could do custom and just do the baking, you know. But custom's kind of interesting. I don't really understand it yet. I'm gonna have to really read that. But I do see that there also is a button for bake and a button for mix and custom here. So these buttons are shortcuts to get to custom or to mix. I'm sorry, mix and bake. So I didn't have to like keep pressing the mode to number 8 and then press start. You can just press bake and it'll put the 10 minutes on the clock and then press start. So something I learned just by reading, because I thought, well, maybe I can just, you know, if this happens again, I will never use this again, just so you know, for a quick or for cake, because it's not something I need to do. Like I said, I was doing it for the video. But if I do, now I know, just press bake and it'll take you there faster if you just press the bake button. And then the custom one is still kind of interesting. It goes through need 1, need 2, you know, rise 1, and you're supposed to be able to play with those numbers up to 2 hours and 56 minutes, including bake time. So you can program it that much. So that's someone we're really gonna have to look at. You know, we'll see when we get there. But again, I'm doing the last 10 minutes. It looks really great, and it's risen kind of quite a bit from when we first looked at it. So anyway, all right, I'll be back. It's gonna beep in just a second. I just can tell, like the smell, everything, it smells much more baked, much better. Oh yeah, let me put this down in here. So basically, whenever you do this, look at that. Perfect, I'm good. Now, it's gonna beep in just a second. It says to leave it there for that full keep warm cycle. I pretty much took that into my own hands because I kept baking it. So the keep warm cycle does stay on for an hour. It's not the same as baking though. So you saw how soft that was. Like I'll show you, well, I'm gonna let it beep, but I mean, you saw how low and kind of soft and like not even something you could touch, right? I mean, this is fine. So, I'll leave it on the keep warm just for like 15 minutes just to let it sit, and then I'll come back and we will put it on a cooling rack, and then obviously we want it to cool for a little bit, and then we'll pop it out just like any other cake. If you have it in obviously a form or whatever you put it in, your baking pan or whatever it is that you want to bake it in, you're going to let it sit for about 5 minutes before you want to turn it out, okay? So I'm going to let it keep warm for about 15 minutes, and then we'll take it out. Okay, so I'm just going to unplug the machine, because if you press start, stop, it doesn't really react. Because the keep warm cycle isn't finished. Sometimes it does. I guess it just depends on where the machine's at. So anyway, I'm just gonna unplug it, okay? I'm just gonna take this guy out. A little bit hot, yeah. And I'm just gonna give it a little quarter turn. And I'm gonna put this on my cooling rack, and when I come back, it'll be about 5-10 minutes from now, and we'll turn it out. Okay guys, so let's just turn this out. I don't know if I need to. I'm sure it's still a little bit hot. Yeah, it smells so good in here. Let me turn this out. It is a pound cake. Oh, look, my little paddle stayed in there, so that's nice. Let me dump this over here. Alright guys, there's our little pound cake, and it looks very similar to what he was showing whenever he would show a pound cake that Wolfgang Puck would work on in the video promos or demo day, or however you want to see it. If you do click on the HSN link, they'll usually show you the original video, at least a clip of the original demo. Yeah, I have some leaves here Miranda brought in, and she said they were so pretty, and I don't know what to do with them, and I don't want to throw them away because she will be very upset. So they're just here. They look nice. Maybe I'll put them in the picture here. But looks really nice, really pretty. I'm not going to cut into it yet because, you know, you never cut into something like this. With cakes and muffins and things like that, you can cut into it because a lot of people like to eat warm, you know, muffins or warm cupcakes or whatever. I guess not cupcakes so much because you want to frost it, or ice it. But I I want to let it sit. You always want to let it cool just so you don't let the steam escape that's helping it finish up, but also keep it nice and moist, right? You cut into that, it's just all going to evaporate. But really cute. Again, took a while. It basically did the same thing that the other function did, the quick function. So either way, but look at the chocolate chips. Ooh, I think that was a good addition. Okay, I'm going to leave this for a little bit before we cut into it. And by a little bit, I mean probably like an hour. Okay, so actually I left it for a little while, longer than I thought, and it's still warm, so let's just cut into it. I'm gonna cut it this way, and I would either make thin slices or I would make little chunks. I don't know however you want to cut it, but... Ooh, I'm like, where are all my chocolate chips? They're in here somewhere. Alright. It is still nice and warm, and it has a nice crumb, as you can see. Really good. It's a pound cake. I'm trying to see if... It has a little coffee flavor. It's not super overpowering or even that strong. It's really good. I do want to point out, whenever you touch it, you get butter like all over your fingers. I don't know if you can see how shiny they are on the tips there, because I had a lot of butter. All right, again, these are not the functions I would normally use or use them very often, but it worked. It took a while. I don't even know if I would say it worked because you have to keep adding your own bake time, but other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. So, good recipe. I'm not sure if you can maybe mix it up yourself and put it in maybe a loaf pan or however. But there it is. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And I was to say my sleeves kept changing throughout the video because I live in Southern California and it's cold and it's warm and it's cold, and take off my sweater, found another one somewhere else, you know, all around the house. So anyway, thanks for watching. Times again, just so you have them. And my handwriting has seen better days. 1 hour and 50, need 1. At 1:43, I had rise 1. 1:39 said need 2. 1:34, the dropper of the nuts or however you want to put in there. At 1:29 it rose, and at 1:20 it started baking. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you at the next one. Bye now.